Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Jay Durena. There isn't a much worse fate than getting stuck out in the middle of the ocean with no food or water, unless you're Bare Grillz and you do it every weekend. So people like me at home get the impression that we could really do it if something like this happened out in the wild, when realistically, I would be dead 15 minutes after I lost my cell phone reception. But it doesn't really matter if you're a survivalist or not. If you disappear out in the big ocean blue, people are gonna have a lot of questions. The whole world would be wondering what happened to you after you vanished. And there has been a lot of these people throughout time, and that's why I'm bringing you today's list of top 10 mysterious people that were lost at sea. I want you guys to stick around for the whole list and then hit up the comments and let me know how you would have rearranged the list. Also, I would love it if you guys would hit the comment section, but also like, comment, subscribe, do all those things, notification bell, everything like that. And if you want more Most Amazing Top 10 content, you can go to our Facebook page and our Instagram page. There's so much more stuff over there for you guys to check out, and you can get to know myself and all the other hosts here at Most Amazing Top 10 a little bit better. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10 we have Rex WILLIMON. This is the story of just a bunch of boys going out for a nice fishing trip. Rex was taking the family and friends out to catch some fish and probably crush some beers, and then their boat started to flood and the engine crapped out. This left them stuck on a boat that was sinking fast. Luckily, Rex sent out a Mayday distress call and the Coast Guard heard it and they were coming to pick them up. Slick move by Rex to save everyone. Unlucky for him, the Coast Guard stopped checking to see where they were after about 2 hours because the Mayday signal didn't get completed. This was a huge bummer for the whole crew that was now holding onto the bow of the boat because it was the only thing that managed to stay afloat. Everything else sunk to the bottom of the ocean like a solid turd hitting the toilet bowl. The whole gang was stuck out there for about 20 hours, and it was Rex's wife who pushed the Coast Guard to go out and try and find them again, and then they were eventually saved. She probably got an amazing anniversary present that year. At number 9 we have Josh Long and Troy Driscoll. Again, just a couple of good old boys going out for some shark fishing. Unfortunately for them, they probably spent too much time thinking about how much beer to bring and not enough time checking whether or not their boat would break down, because it did. Then the two of them were stuck out in the sea for 6 days. When they were eventually found, they both had severe burns all over their body from sun exposure. And the younger of the two, Troy, said they were able to stay alive by eating jellyfish. At number 8 we have Alan Griffiths. So here's a hot tip when it comes to scuba diving. Bring a friend. When you go on solo dives, you might end up like this dude did. Alan Griffiths was 68 at the time and he decided to go for a nice little dive on a sunken ship all by himself. When he came to the surface, he was a bit disoriented and he couldn't find his way back to shore, and then he ended up floating in the ocean for around 17 hours. No boat, just him in the ocean. Luckily, people back on land knew that he was supposed to come back, and when he didn't, they sent out a search party. And he didn't get eaten by sharks in the process. Such a good guy. It was just off the coast of northern Queensland, Australia, and Alan said when the rescue worker came in the water to save him, the first thing the guy said was, "G'day mate, you want a lift?" That's pretty funny. Number 7 we have Lewis Jordan. Part of me wants to know what it feels like to be stuck out in the sea and fighting for your life, thinking that any day could be your last, at any moment you would die, and then when you think all is lost, you get home or you get rescued. I mean, I want to know what it feels like. I don't actually want to do it. Like, if someone could like build a VR experience, like a Castaway VR experience, I could do that, and I would just like play it while I'm at home eating my Pop-Tarts. I'm sure it would feel like the same thing for sure. Well, Lewis Jordan did it for real. He was on a sailboat when it capsized, breaking the mast and his collarbone. The ship eventually corrected itself, but there was no way for him to sail anywhere. He was stuck out on the ocean for 66 days and managed to survive by eating crabs and fish that were attracted to the seaweed coming off of his boat. Eventually the Coast Guard found him and brought him home, and when you listen to the phone call between him and his dad, he apologizes for breaking the boat. Like, dude, your dad is just happy you're alive. If he had to choose between getting his son back and the boat, I'm sure he would choose his son, depending on how expensive the boat is. At number 6 we have Steve Callahan. Steve Callahan wanted to do what a lot of sailors have done before. He wanted to sail across the Atlantic, but along the way he was hit by a storm which broke his boat in half. This forced him onto a little dinghy and he would spend the next 76 days there. He was able to survive by catching rainwater and fighting off sharks and doing some small workouts to stop his muscle atrophy. When he was finally found, he only weighed 94 pounds, and I'm sure he took a break from sailing after that. Tom and Eileen Lonergan. Here's another reason why to avoid open water with people you don't know. They might just leave you out there because you're so easy to forget. If you go out on a boat with people you just met, make sure you're very loud, extravagant, and maybe a little obnoxious. That way you don't get left behind. Or if you do get left behind, eventually they'll remember you and they come back for you. Unlike Tom and Eileen, no one came back for them. And no one even realized they were missing until 2 days after they were gone. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Open Water, but it's about a couple who goes out on a diving trip, gets forgotten, and then I think they both get eaten by sharks or they freeze to death or something. I'm not sure how it ends, but I just know that it's a really bad way to spend your vacation, and it did really happen to this couple. The movie is actually based on them. Unfortunately, unlike the other people on this list, they were never found and probably just ended up as fish food. Deborah Kiley and Brad Kavanaugh. This one is a punch in the face from reality. It was 5 people taking a yacht down from Maine to Florida. Not that far into the trip, the yacht capsized, and the 5 of them had to get into a little inflatable Zodiac to survive. Could you imagine balling out on a yacht, drinking champagne, partying like a champ, and the next thing you know you're fighting for your life on a little blow-up boat? Well, I gotta say, it wasn't all 5 of them that were able to make it back in one piece. One person died from blood poisoning because they got some injuries. 2 other people were eaten by sharks when they tried to escape the boat and swim for help. And then the last 2, Deborah and Brad, they were rescued by a Russian freighter. I think if I ever get invited to a yacht party, I'm 100% going to go. Are you kidding me? I don't care if I end up in the middle of the ocean fighting for my life. I got to go to a yacht party. I can die knowing I'm cool. At number 3, we have ALDI. I mean, this story starts off rough and then it just gets worse. This dude was an Indonesian fisherman struggling to make ends meet. So before you even get into the castaway story, this guy has a blue collar job in a third world country. He would sail out on his rompom to catch fish. A rompom is basically a hut with a sail on it. One day a storm kicked up and broke the sail off his rompom and then sent him adrift. He was able to survive by drinking 3 sips of fresh water a day from his supplies and cooking fish that he caught. He was found near the island of Guam, which is 1,300 miles away from Indonesia. At number 2, we have the Robertsons. This is one of the craziest stories we have on this list. Not because it's a whole family that ended up stuck on a little dinghy with very few supplies and everyone lived, but that no one in the family tried to kill each other. If you had me and my whole family stuck on a boat for a little over a month, someone's getting thrown overboard. This family was trying to sail around the world and they were doing a pretty good job, but one day the boat got smashed up by some killer whales and this forced the whole family onto a little inflatable boat. And that's where they would stay for the next 38 days. An entire family surviving on rainwater and sea life. A Japanese fishing trawler eventually found them and they were saved. At number 1, we have Jose Salvador. This guy is the king of surviving on a floating raft. He makes Tom Hanks and Wilson look like a couple of chumps. If they ever try to do a Castaway style movie again, they should just cast Jose because he's basically done the most method acting of any actor for this role ever. Jose Salvador was stuck on a broken down boat in the middle of the ocean for 13 months. He drifted from the coast of Mexico to the Marshall Islands. That's 6,600 miles. He managed to make it all the way there without dying by eating fish, turtles, and birds that would land on his boat. And all he had to drink was rainwater, his own pee, and turtle blood. That's why we need to get rid of the straws. So if you get stuck out in the ocean, there's still some turtles left and you can take them and drink their sweet, sweet blood. After he was rescued, he talked a lot about how he would think about killing himself, and I can't blame him. Not only would you be hungry every single day, but you would be right on the edge of just being bored to death. I can't live without my podcasts. But in the end, this guy was a champ and beat out Mother Nature. Alright everyone, that's our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, follow Most Amazing Top 10 on Instagram and Facebook. It's a great way to get to know myself and the other hosts a little bit better. And smash into the comment section. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, all those kind of things. You guys know what to do. Until next time, I've been ADILANG, and I think I'm gonna stick next to the pool. I'm not gonna go in the ocean.